Welcome to the Sebcast, where we look deeper, ask bigger questions, and discover how Jesus is still changing the world. Few things derail a conversation faster than the wrong question. Just think how many conversations today start with, did it really happen? Can it be scientifically proven? How exactly did it work? We live in a world where we are taught that the most important question is always, is it historically accurate, or can I prove it empirically? But what if sometimes we ask the Bible the wrong questions? This does not mean historical questions are unimportant. On the contrary, the Christian faith is deeply rooted in history. Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection are not just ideas, they are historical claims. Yet it is striking how often we get so stuck on the mechanics of certain Bible stories that we miss the purpose of the story. Take, for example, the story of Noah. For centuries, people have asked the same questions. Was the flood worldwide? How many animals were there? How big was the ark? Where did the water come from? Where did it go? How did the kangaroos reach Australia? These are interesting questions. Some of them have good answers, others not. But when you read Genesis slowly, you begin to wonder if the author ever intended those to be the first questions his readers should ask. The story itself gives surprisingly little attention to the flood. In fact, there are more verses about the building of the ark than about the waters flooding the earth. It's almost as if the author is whispering to us, "You're looking in the wrong place." Maybe the most important question is not, "Did it happen?" Maybe the first question is rather, why is this story being told? This is not a strange way of reading. We do it every day without thinking about it. No one asks if the tortoise really raced against the hare. No one tries to determine the exact location of the race. We instinctively understand that the truth of the story does not lie in the historical details, but in the wisdom it reveals. The story lives on because it says something true about life. The same goes for Jesus' parables. When Jesus tells of the Good Samaritan, no one asks, what was the victim's name? Or exactly what day did it happen? We understand that Jesus is busy rewriting our world. He does not just want to expand our knowledge, he wants to change our imagination. The Bible does this continually. This is why the first lesson of good Bible reading may not be to get faster answers, but to learn to ask better questions. Because the question you ask often determines the answer you ultimately get. If you read the Bible like a scientific textbook, you will probably be frustrated. If you read it as a collection of moral lessons, you will probably discover a list of rules. But if you read it as the great story of God restoring the world, every story begins to unfold in ways you never expected. That is why we must be careful of a modern temptation, to think that more information automatically means more wisdom. We live in the most informed time in history. Within seconds we can find hundreds of articles, videos, and opinions on any subject. And yet it does not seem as if the world has necessarily become wiser. Information and wisdom are not the same thing. The Bible is less interested in overloading you with facts than in shaping you into the kind of person who can live rightly in God's world. This is exactly why Jesus so often answered with questions. Read the Gospels, and you discover something remarkable. People ask Jesus a question, and he often answers with another question. Not because he does not know the answer, but because he knows the deeper problem often lies in the question itself. Wrong questions lead to wrong lives. Right questions open up new worlds. Maybe that is the invitation for each of us today. Where in your life have you been asking the same question for years but still do not find peace? Maybe you ask, why is this happening to me? While God wants to invite you to ask, who can I become in the midst of this? Maybe you ask, how do I get out of this? While God asks, what do I want to form in you here? Maybe you ask, why does God not answer my prayers, while he invites you to discover how he is already busy changing you? Sometimes one new question changes everything. That is exactly why we have these conversations. We do not just want to give faster answers. We want to learn to ask deeper questions. Because when we learn to read the Bible rightly, we begin to read ourselves rightly. And when we read ourselves rightly, we begin to see the world differently. That is, after all, what we as SA Congregation exist for. We do not just want to be another church spreading more religious information. We want to be a network of people who help each other understand Jesus' story more deeply, live it out honestly, and carry it together to our families, our communities, and our world. Because ultimately, the world does not change just through people who have all the answers. It changes through people who have learned to ask the right questions. Until tomorrow, take care.